Hello, folks. Hello, everyone.
Hey, good morning.
I would propose to wait a couple more minutes before everybody will join and we may start. I see that Jason has just joined us. So, Jason, are you going to take the notes for today as usual?
I will gladly take the notes, yes.
Perfect. Thank you. So let's start in 4 minutes.
Okay, doke.
All right, so we're ready to start, and I see we have enough participants here. Speaking about the agenda, we have scheduled 6 storage meeting for today, and also we have agreed with SIG-APps with Dan Pike that we'll also have SIG-APps demo for today regarding the features that are targeted in 1.7 release. I don't see the list of attendees, but I see Antoine from SIG-APps. So Antoine, are you ready to run the demo for today of the SIG-APps feature? So we'd like to move it later.
No, I haven't any demo prepared.
Sorry?
So no, I don't have any demo to show. So I don't know if.
Okay. So we'll skip this one for the next meeting. I suppose we'll sync with Dan Pike and align with him the best time to present the demo. So today we have a demo of 1.7 features by SIG Storage. I see that Matty is here and Wamin is here. So who guys are going to write the demo now?
Ihor, we should at least get a status update of the feature if we don't get a demo.
Well, let's do it. Let's probably start with the 6 storages we have already agreed. We already have. So let me share my screen now, and we'll go. We have already received the status update from Cell 6 last week. But 6 storage wasn't one of them, so let's proceed with this one. Capacity isolation resource management.
I think this is something for local storage. We're not going to be demoing this today, but we'll probably be working on. Sorry, if you go back just one page. We're going to be demoing the snapshots. So that's the 4th one in the list. Possibly the cloud provider metrics, and it's not in here, but the what was it? The mount options. So those are the potential 3 that we're going to be doing.
Okay. Mount options maybe from the last release, right?
Yeah. Yeah, but I think it's going GA this time. I'm not sure why. Maybe it got closed because it's finished.
Yeah.
Well, I don't see this one in the list that I'm sharing now on the screen for 1.7. Is this for 1.6 or?
Yeah, Mons options is for 1.6. We'll be going GA in 1.8. We are letting the feature it's in beta in 1.7, so we are letting the feature kind of sit for 1.7, getting feedback and stuff like that for mount options in 1.7. That's why we are not touching mount options in 1.7.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, it was in 1.6 and we haven't had a demo, so I think it's worth demoing here. And then this capacity isolation, we should update that if that's not happening. It also doesn't have a alpha beta, doesn't have a label.
Yeah, right. So that's my first question. Well, it is going to be alpha, it has been updated. So we still have this feature on track for 1.7, right? No changes in the development cycle, so.
Right.
Okay. Yeah, so we have it over here. Volume snapshots. The description has an update, and I also don't have any exact information about this feature. For example, we don't have any information about the feature. I'd like to ask you to update it with the fresh template. And please do it as fast as possible because we are going to close 1.7 really soon. So storage OS volume plugin. I see the description is full and no changes regarding this feature, right? So it still targets stable for 1.7. Can people hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you fine, Ihor.
Okay, it's like some silence. So is this feature that I'm showing right now on the screen, storage as well and plugin, are there any updates on this one, or we are still going with this as a stable for 1.7?
Yeah, I'll double check with Saad, but I'm pretty sure it's no updates on this one. It's going still.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so we have checked all of them. So probably we may proceed to the demo, right? Yeah, I suppose you are able to share screen now. Should be.
Great. So I don't know who wants to go first, but we have Tomas, Hemant, and Haman. And so I think we'll do two demos from, I think, Haman on the things he's working on, and then maybe Tomas for the last part.
Two demos for Hemant, sorry. Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
Okay, I'll share my screen. Hopefully this goes okay. All right. You see my screen?
Yes, we can.
All right. So the first feature is basically like mount options, and it's a feature we introduced in 1.6. The users can specify mount options in persistent volume. Like I have here Nginx. Sorry. Let me know if you can, the screen size is small or something like that. So I have like a persistent volume based off NFS, and I'm changing the read size to 32,768. So this is like NFS has a lot of mount options that user can tune to change the performance characteristics and how it is used. So I'm just doing one that we are using, and I have already created a PVC based on that. So PVC and PV, this feature is only available for statically created persistent volumes. So there's no dynamic. It doesn't work for storage classes. That is something that we will be most likely introducing in 1.8, where the mount options could be specified in storage class directly. But for this release, it can only be specified in persistent volume, and then it can be. This persistent volume can be used, in a claim, and I have here a claim that uses this, and I have a pod that uses this volume, NFS claim 2, and this pod is already actually running. Nginx vol 2. So this is the. So I'll just let me switch over to, let me know if you can see the screen. So if I do mount command, and you can see that, all right, this is become, you can see that the NFS volume is mounted with that changed R size of 32,768. So this is when that PV was mounted on this minion node, then whatever that user specified in the persistent volume, that is the mount option used, and that's pretty much it. Actually, I have another statically created PV that this is based on GC, where I'm just using mount option discard. Might be useful for SSDs. So similarly, that option is used whenever the that volume is mounted on the node, RW real-time discard. So this is pretty much it for mount option. The plan is to move this for 1.8. The plan is to move this field from annotation to a field somewhere here and then add support for storage classes. So admin can configure a mount option for the entire storage class, and the persistent volumes by default will get whatever is the admin had specified. That's something that we'll do in 1.8. So that's it for this one. Any questions or comments? I see are these NFS push somewhere? I'd like to try this. Not yet, but I will push them after this call, or I'll just, while the other demos are going on, I'll push this to a GitHub repo somewhere.
Cool demo. Thanks so much for showing us that.
Okay, cool. So the second demo I want to show is like the cloud provider matrix. So in 1.7, we are going to introduce like a cloud provider matrix. And let me see if I can. I have only my terminal is shared, so I cannot show the screen. But the idea is basically like we were running into like quota issues in AWS in particular, where like the API quota of AWS can be exhausted, and then that makes the cluster user can basically lock himself out of the cluster because of the AWS quota problems. And we didn't know which API call is the one that is using the quota most, or which system is what is causing this problem. So we don't know that. And also like figure out latency issues and stuff like that. So in 1.7, we are introducing cloud provider matrix for AWS, GCE, OpenShift, OpenStack, and vSphere. So I have that should be it. So for now, I'm just going to curl and show the all right, let's see if it's here. So I'm just this is a part of controller matrix. I haven't set up this matrix to be scrapped by Prometheus and Grafana yet. That's like a little bit work. So I'm just going lazy for the demo and just want to show that the matrix are available, and any system that will scrap these matrix will be able to get them. So I'm just going to curl the controller matrix, and if I grep by GCE, then we can see that we have these matrix available now. So what did they say? For example, like we have disk attach. There have been 2 disk attach requests because I created 2 PVCs, 2 PVs, and there's how much time it took to attach this the disk attach, and this is histogram matrix, so they are bucketed in all these buckets, and we have similarly like error matrix, like how many of this API calls failed, and similar metrics are available for AWS, OpenStack, and vSphere as well. That follow the same naming convention, like cloud provider, GCE. Instead of GCE, you make it AWS cloud provider, AWS API request duration seconds, and then everything else is similar. So yeah, that's about the cloud provider matrix.
That's awesome. When will these be available in Prometheus? Is that planned for 1.7 or later?
These are Prometheus matrix. So I haven't set up the, like usually like users configures Prometheus to scrape these matrix, like how controller matrix are generally scrapped is like you define an endpoint for the controller in Prometheus, and then Prometheus automatically discovers this endpoint and it scraps it. So it is something that part of setting up Kubernetes. So I haven't configured it yet. So it is not something we will be doing it as part of core Kubernetes. I think if someone from SIG instrumentation is here, they can correct me, but it is something that user configures when they install Kubernetes or when they set up Kubernetes on their own cluster, on their own.
Okay, so I guess we should just capture that in the documentation for the user, how to configure them.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. There are instructions in Prometheus website how to, because Prometheus supports Kubernetes, like it comes with support for Kubernetes. So there's like some documentation there. It often keeps changing, and between Prometheus versions it breaks quite a lot. So I will look into documenting that, but like, and both basic instrumentation to how to configure this matrix, how to pull this matrix into Prometheus.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And I think the other question is on other metrics vendors. So yeah, if there's documentation on the Prometheus site, then we should just link to that from our docs, I suppose, whatever the best version is of that. And then is SIG instrumentation already aware of this feature, and they're targeted on this
Yeah. So the feature proposal was approved by a couple of guys from SIG instrumentation. So they're very much aware, and the AWS GC pull requests were approved by SIG instrumentation. vSphere and OpenStack, these two were added later, and I approved them. They were added by VMware and OpenStack guys. So yeah.
Yeah, that's fine. We should just alert SIG instrumentation towards the end of the release, which is now.
Okay.
That it's delivered. Yeah. Thank you so much. That's awesome.
Okay. That's all I had. Thank you.
Cool. Thank you very much. So I think Tomas is going to show us some demos now on snapshots, volume snapshots, and this is an alpha feature, I believe, in 1.7.
No. Unfortunately, this is not an alpha feature of 1.7. What happened is that we didn't make it to 1.7 because we were arguing about things like API and basic stuff. So in the end, we decided to try to do an external controller, external provisioner, which would give us more space for experimentation and fleshing out the details before we decide to get it in 3.
Tomas, we still consider it alpha, even though it is external.
All right, so it's external and it's alpha. It's going to be slightly bit longer, I'm afraid, and I have it pre-recorded because I don't trust my fingers that much. This is one of the first demos I do, so my apologies if it's going to look awkward.
Okay.
So let me share the screen. And okay, so do you see my screen?
Yep, we can see your screen.
Okay, so I'll start the. What I'm going to show you is a basic snapshot workflow as it works right now with the external controller and external provisioner. I was using Amazon EBS. I'm sorry?
Can you zoom in a little bit? Or make the text a little bigger?
Oh, of course, I can try to. Give me a moment. Better now?
I don't know if it is for anyone else. It's not really better for me. Is there any way to?
Well, it was a bit better.
Yeah.
It would be great if you'll zoom like a bit more.
A bit more. Okay, I'll try to because it's going to overflow my screen now.
Oh, I see.
So
don't worry about it. Maybe as long as you talk through what you're doing, it should be fine.
All right. So I'm sorry for that. I'll try to do it better next time. So anyway, so let's start a Kubernetes single node. I'm using the my own. I'll zoom out a bit. I'm using my own fresh version of the Git tree. So you can see now it's Kubernetes server starting, Kubernetes cluster starting. We will have a single node, and then we need to use the external controller, which will be listening for the volume snapshot events and basically ensure that the using proper plugin will take the snapshot themselves. Another component is the external provisioner, which again enables us to get to the data on the snapshot, and we're using a persistent volume claims for this. So the snapshot provisioner is taking care of special storage class of PVCs, which then are promoted or turned to PVs pre-populated with the data. So I have now the Kubernetes single node cluster running. I have the controller running. Now I'm starting the provisioner. So everything should be okay. They talk to the Kubernetes API server. So first thing I need is some volume. So I will create a simple small volume of fast storage class in Amazon. So now let's create the PVC. It's named myclaim1. It's been created and it's bound. It looks to be okay. So now start a pod that will be writing some data to the PVC or to the volume. So you can see I have simple busybox based pod that basically writes every second into a pod out txt file on the mounted persistent volume. So let's start the pod with busybox. Wait for it to come up. Once it comes up, it's going to write out the data to the volume. And once we have some data, we can take a snapshot of them and see if we can get back to the snapshot of data. So, okay, the pod is now running. So I can see the mounts. There is the directory where we have the file written by our pod. We can see what's inside. It should be like, yeah, date every second written to the text file. So now let's snapshot this volume. So we will use the snapshot YAML. Snapshot is a new kind in the external API. It's got a name and it references the persistent volume claim we want to snapshot. So we create a snapshot of the persistent volume claim. As you can see, it's been created. And we use analogy to PV and PVC for this. So this is the volume snapshot. That's what a user creates. It's like PVC in the analogy. And there's also another object named volume snapshot data that basically binds the volume snapshot with the backend with the actual snapshot on disk in the backend plane. So there is the snapshot data. And you can see it references the EBS snapshot. It knows the EBS snapshot ID, and it binds it with the volume snapshot created by the user. There's also a persistent volume reference, which in this case is slightly confusing because it might not exist at the moment the snapshot has been created already. So there are things that might change. So let's stop the pod that's writing the data. We have it snapshotted some time ago. And now we can try to get to the snapshot data because we have only the snapshot. So we need special storage class for this. It's because we're using external provisioner. So there is the snapshot promoter storage class that specifies the external provisioner I have started before at the beginning. Now we have the storage class and we want to get to the data in the snapshot demo volume snapshot. So we will create a PVC. That's again, this is the YAML file with the persistent volume claim. And as you can see, it's got the annotation that references the snapshot, and it's got the storage class name that basically tells to use the external provisioner. So we will create a PVC referencing the volume snapshot. And once it's created, okay, we will see that now we have two PVCs. One is the original one, myclaim1, and the other one is the snapshot data claim, which should be bound to a PV that is not empty, but contains data from the snapshot. So it's pre-populated with the data from the snapshot. Now I will create another simple pod to verify that there is the data on the snapshot. This is basically how the workflow would look like. So now I can use this newly created PVC. As you can see, I'm having a new busybox, simple busybox pod referencing the snapshot data claim that's been created from the snapshot. So I'll start the busybox that's accessing the new PV or mounting the new PV. Wait for it to come up. Okay, so it's gonna take some time, but it's looking good. Okay, so I have the new pod running, and it's accessing the PV created from the snapshot. We can verify that the data is there, and it's slightly older than the current time. It's like 3 minutes ago I've killed the older pod. So let's log into the shell inside, and we can see the content of the file that's already mounted in the persistent volume used by the pod. I can create the I can delete now the snapshot, and this does not in any way affect the existing PVC created from the snapshot. They're independent, and I can eventually create a new snapshot from this volume or whatever. So they're not bound. Snapshots and PVCs are not bound once they're created. And that's basically everything. So you can see I have no snapshots, I have no snapshot data anywhere, but I still can access the data, I can snapshot them again, and so on. And yep, that's basically the demo. I'm sorry if you haven't seen much, and I was perhaps too quick.
No, that's a lot of material to cover, and it was really cool to see it in action. It's very cool. Thank you very much for showing us that. That was, yeah, that's a really cool feature, and I think a lot of people are gonna find some good uses for it. So thank you.
Okay, so are there any questions or something?
Yes, I had one question. It's actually kind of a process question, and it's related to this one as well as the mount options. So this feature is going out as alpha, and mount options currently is waiting to move to the next phase. My question is, how are we measuring, are we making any measurements on the adoption of these features? How will we know when they are ready for beta or for GA?
Well, I don't know. What we're trying to do with the snapshot thing, we have created something like cabal, like people who are interested in the feature, and we've had regular meetings about the snapshotting feature, and we were trying to get some consensus about how the API and workflows should look like. And I hope that eventually, once we have something specific to show and talk about, we will iterate and improve the solution. And once these people interested in the feature would agree on that yes, this is something we want to show to the wider community, we will try to do that. That's the best I can have right now.
Yeah, let me add some color to that too. Our plan from the storage SIG perspective is to incubate some alpha features in the external storage repository. And then once they start solidifying there and get more usage and we're comfortable with how we've actually implemented them, we'll start moving them back in tree for beta and GA.
Okay, are we going to be able to measure usage?
Pretty much no, except for people coming to the storage SIG and talking about it. We have a pretty active community that's helped design the feature. So once it gets out there, we're pretty sure they're going to be using it and giving us feedback on it.
Got it. Thank you so much. Yeah, I think that's the case for mostly everything in Kubernetes, and maybe at the community meeting we can have a discussion around how we can measure usage or at least attract user feedback in addition to the community.
I have a question as well, which is, first of all, like this looks amazing in and of itself, but also because I think this is the first user of Kube Aggregator. Is that correct? Or an early user of Kube Aggregator, the aggregation API server? Can you hear me?
Tomasz?
Well, I can hear you, but I don't know if we're using Kube Aggregator at all. So I don't know anything about it.
It's using custom resource definitions. I don't know if Kube Aggregators is part of that.
So far, it's using TPR. So far, this is TPR based.
Okay, this is the new TPR. Okay, and where is the code for this? Is this in the?
I think it's right now. It's Huamin's GitHub repo. We plan to move it to some more official place.
Cool.
It will live in the external storage repository.
Yeah.
So there's an incubator external storage that'll hold it.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. So any other updates from SIG storage regarding these items, or probably some other items?
No, I think that's that's all the demos we were planning on doing today, and thank you for all the presenters for that. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, it was amazing. Thank you, everyone. So speaking about other features for 1.7, we have already received most of the updates from probably all the SIGs. But if there are any SIG representatives of any SIGs that have any updates regarding their features for 1.7, please let us know and provide us with your updates.
I had a general question that kind of just got brought out about how we measure when something is ready for beta and stable. Do we have hard guidelines on things you can change, as well as what minimum requirements need to be there for you to promote things through the different levels, or are they kind of SIG defined?
Well, the general requirement is API stability, as we have discussed, as it's described in Kubernetes documentation and Kubernetes repo. And probably like some specific SIGs may have also some specific measurements for that. So if anybody can provide deeper information regarding that, it would be great.
Yeah, there are definitely rules about, like, I think it invokes the deprecation policy on the API. So in other words, when you release something into the various levels, it's about like how you can change it and the rules under which you can. And effectively alpha means you can do whatever you want. And stable means like a year of, well, there are some rules if you look at the deprecation policy. It doesn't imply anything about stability of the feature. So it just says that the API is stable. It doesn't mean the feature can still not work at all and we can promote it to stable. But as long as the API is stable, then that's fine.
So at the beta level, you can still change the API, or?
Kind of can. You're not supposed to, and there are deprecation policies. I'm going to try to find the link.
I just put it in chat.
Okay, great.
But I mean, on that note, I think we've certainly encouraged users to use alpha things before, and every time we do it, users get burned. And I think we should not encourage users to use alpha features without big caveats. And so I don't know how we can find, the usage should be basically 0 for production. So I don't know how we can measure, I don't know if usage is the right metric on which to promote something when we don't expect users to use it.
Yeah, I also provided yet another link regarding the API versions from Kubernetes official documentation. So here we have like formal guidelines, how we can define what is alpha, what is beta, and what is stable.
Okay, so it looks like most of the bulk of this is basically between what becomes beta. At least that has the most bullet points and the most kind of requirements. And then stable is really just, do we think this is stable now? And we're ready to enter into a deprecation agreement if need be. But between beta and stable, you can still, according to point number 3, change the schema and the semantics in incompatible ways.
The way I see the alpha feature can be altogether dropped, but a beta feature can be, schema can be changed, but shouldn't be dropped usually.
Yeah, for whatever reason, I thought once it reached beta, the API couldn't change in backwards incompatible ways. Like once you're promoting something to beta, you're pretty much saying this looks pretty good. Now it's just about some subsequent features that would enhance this.
I mean, I'd say we certainly make breaking changes even to stable features like Kubernetes itself. I think a good indicator of promotion from beta to stable is that the beta API hasn't gone through a lot of flux, right? It's that it is an API that is stable and that it is not changing. And so we are, but I think you can certainly make a change to it. I think you should avoid it if you can. Just
okay. Apologies if I derailed. I've just seen this come up the last couple of releases, and in network policy, we we certainly did this for this release, as in massively changed how the API is going to work.
Yeah, I think we should probably have a discussion at the community meeting about the different designations and also what the criteria should be. Maybe it's just that we haven't been using it widely. If it's something that's well documented, we can sort of maybe as the PM SIG enforce it more. But I do think that there's some questions about that.
Yeah, great. Probably we may start with like preparing some documented vision on behalf of SIG-PM, how should it look like, and discuss with the wider audience at the general Kubernetes community meeting and receive the feedback and further contributions to the document. Yeah, that sounds reasonable because like so many people are asking the same question with like some cadence.
Yeah, my understanding was the same as what Justin said about what is beta and how to move from beta to stable. And I didn't think that there would be that many changes, but it seems like network policy has made several changes. So just would be good to understand the policy generally.
Yeah.
Do we have
also?
Sorry, Ihor. I was just going to ask if we had any volunteers to actually work on that as a to-do item.
If you would like, you may start. If you don't want, I can do that.
Okay.
Anyway, I will contribute to the document. So the question is, who will start the document?
Ihor, you and I already we have to work on the feature process and generally in the documentation. This seems like a very good fit for both of those things at the same time.
Right.
So let's maybe, are you and I good for doing that? We'll do it at the same time we meet for the other thing.
Right. Sounds reasonable.
Great.
Yeah, I also just like to notice that I found yet another document that describes the situation with different versions in terms of API for Kubernetes. So I have also pasted the link into the chat.
Yeah, that's awesome. In terms of people participating in the SIG, the people that are part of the SIG or attending, please raise your hand or let us know if you're interested in taking on some particular initiative or some particular role. There are some new people also joining, and I think we can, as we collect the list of work items, we can ask them if they're interested in those. Ask the new people if they're interested in those.
Yeah, we need volunteers.
Do you have a backlog
okay.
of issues for that? Is there just
Sorry?
labeled SIG-PM somewhere? Is there a backlog of issues that you need help with?
Well, at the current moment, we don't have any backlog questions that like some help is required because we are almost done with 1.7 and finishing that work for 1.7. At the same time, if you are going to help us with the further releases, including 1.8, you're absolutely welcome. You may start like looking at 1.7 and so on.
But it's a good suggestion. I think at a minimum in our notes, we can have a list of work items for which we are looking for volunteers. Like this topic of, revisiting or enforcing or figuring out the criteria for moving from alpha to beta to stable is something that we could put on the list, and people that join newly could volunteer for that topic. So maybe we can just maintain that in our notes, or if you want to maintain it separately, Ihor, we can start an issue or, where people can see it publicly. That might be good.
I would like to have that list at Kubernetes community repo under SIG-PM space. It would be better than, and it would be easier to find some information than like searching this big sheet of like our meeting notes. So, yeah, I suppose that would be better to have it on GitHub.
That sounds
okay.
great.
So, any other questions regarding like some procedural questions or anything else?
So we actually need to assign the assigning. So somebody needs to create the GitHub repo for that.
Well, it would be great if we will have at least the document where we will describe our further initiatives and existing initiatives with the list of volunteers. Let me provide you with the initial link to this space where I'd like to see that. So it's SIG-PM space at Kubernetes community repo. So we may create yet another markdown document where it is like the table or something like that, where we will describe our initiatives and assign some people to be responsible for them.
Yeah, if you can create that, you know, we can continue to add items to it. I have a couple items I'll add.
Yeah, perfect. Anything else? We don't have any major items in the agenda, so we can discuss anything right now if anybody has any questions.
Can you hear me, Eeyore?
Yes, I can.
Yeah, if we could, SIG-PM is lagging as far as giving a report during the community meeting in the little spreadsheet. Like February, I think, was the last time you guys went. So I was kind of hoping if I can get a commitment before you say, but it's in the middle of release.
Yeah, the easiest time for us to make an update on behalf of SIG-PM is the end of iteration, because we're absolutely busy working with the features and with the different status related to the release. At the same time, at the community meeting after the release, we may provide a brief update on the features that have been delivered with the previous release, and also prepare the brief update on what has been achieved with our internal goals at
okay,
our procedural goals and so on.
All right, I'll pencil you in like a week or two after release then. Does that work?
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool.
I'm not sure. So in common practice, we don't have community meeting in a week after the release. But
or
probably,
whenever the, yeah, whenever the.
Right, yeah.
We can give a brief update this week as well.
If,
Yeah.
do you want to do one this week?
I'm happy to do like a 5-minute update or.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be like a major thing. Okay, I'll pencil you in for that then. Great, thank you.
Okay.
All right.
Thanks. Ihor, what, just looking forward for the rest of the release, what else do we have left in terms of meetings? Are there any more demos?
Well, we had scheduled several demos, but most of them have been like out of schedule. We're waiting for the demo from SIG-Apps. Dan Peck has announced that he's going to have a demo of SIG-Apps today, but we probably will reschedule this one for the next meeting. We also are going to have a demo of C cluster lifecycle of KubeADM. And that's probably all in terms of major features. We also, it is also likely to have a demo of SIG-Auth features. They haven't been presented anything during this iteration publicly, but we are going to have several notable features from SIG-Auth. So probably we may reach them directly and ask them if it is possible to have a presentation in 2 weeks in the next SIG-PM meeting. And the next SIG-PM meeting is going to be like the last meeting in 1.7 iteration, if we will release Kubernetes 1.7 in time.
Okay, perfect. So then in 2 weeks when we meet, let's have the final demos from those 3 SIGs, cluster lifecycle, app, and auth. And then meanwhile, we'll work offline on finalizing the release.
If SIG cluster lifecycle is giving demos, I'm happy to give a demo of COPS as well in that slot.
Justin, do you have anything targeted for 1.7?
We have ongoing. Well, we have support for 1.7. So I will review exactly what we've shipped in the 1.7 timeframe, but we are not on the same release schedule, because I think actually it's going to be interesting, which is I think SIG cluster lifecycle is also, sorry, I think KubeADM is. also thinking about breaking with the official release schedule because it is so difficult to ship at the same time as the features that you are shipping. So
Okay. Sure. I mean, we would love to get an up.
Yeah. Okay. So thanks everyone for joining. If nobody has any other questions, we may finish this one. No questions? So good. So thanks everyone for joining and see you in 2 weeks and on Thursday.
Thank you.